Hello and welcome to the SFCA podcast. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho and everywhere in between. Miami is a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us. So welcome everyone. For those of you just joining us, thank you for giving us an hour of your day, the first day of the new week. What a call we have in store for you today. We are winding up the summer months and getting ready for Labor Day holiday weekend coming in a few short weeks, as well as fall, which is just around the corner. I would like to take this time to communicate to you regarding the challenges that our dear friend from the hospitality industry is enduring at the moment. Deanne Connolly is fighting cancer for a second time. The first occurrence was in 2015. GoFundMe account has been established for her. I kindly ask that you share. We will share her GoFundMe link on the chat in a few minutes. She's raised over $41,000 thus far, but far from her enduring goal of $100,000 plus. Deanne has been a bedrock in the hospitality community and is always willing to help in any way she can. We owe it to her not to forget and keep her in our thoughts and prayers. Deanne, we love you. Stay strong. We are here for you. As we continue another month of our Zoom call, we have some great things going on. I want to jump real quick to our prizes because they are some amazing prizes. First, we're going to have a $50 gift card for gas. Secondly, we're going to have a $150 food credit at any of the Miami Spice restaurants. And lastly, we're going to have a couples massage. Now, all you have to do is pay attention, answer the question properly in the chat, and then those that are giving away those prizes will dictate to me who's the actual winner. And if the answer is correct, as I do not know the answer, nor do I know the question. So with that said, I'd like to introduce you to our panelists today. On deck, as always, our data guru, Andrew, from the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, is going to give us all the information on summer and what's happening coming up in the fall. See if there's a dip in bookings. Ceci will talk about what summer has been like and what's happening in Labor Day. And then our two special guests today from Calma Spas, we have Marizza Contreras. And then from Own Outdoors, Ian Sawh. Is it Sawh or Sawh? How do you pronounce it, Ian?
Sawh. You got
okay. So Ian Sawh. So we're going to start our morning off with Calma Spa. She's already loaded up on deck, and I give to you Marizza. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Miguel. Super excited to share all this information to our hospitality industry. I light a candle today because I think at the beginning of each day, we all have to start our day with a little bit of intention. So when we wake up in the morning, sometimes the first thing that we do is get into the electronic devices and start checking our emails and the text messages and communicating with people. And sometimes we just don't need that. So today I'm going to do a little exercise. It's going to be 3 seconds. And then I want you guys to start it with gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibration on the body that attracts all the beautiful things that you want in your life. Doesn't matter how crazy, doesn't matter how negative, just by being grateful, it just brings all the positive things in the world to you. So we're going to do it with some breath work. And I'm going to ask you to breathe in 4, to hold it in 4, and then let it go in 4. And we're going to do it 3 times. And during that time, you guys are going to start thinking about 5 things that you're grateful for. It can be the fingers that you have and the beautiful hair that you have, or the beautiful skin, or your parents, your children, your dog, anything. You can figure it out. The smallest things can be being the greatest ones. So let's start it together. So let's take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Hold it for 4. Let it go for 4. Another deep breath. Hold it for 4. Let it go for 4. Another one. So sometimes we just have those little 5 seconds or 10 seconds in order for you just to have a different vibration and be ready and start thinking about what is your purpose for today. So as when we're in hospitality, we give ourselves constantly with, the people that we talk, the projects that we create, we're leaders in the industry from what position, if you are a concierge, a front desk manager, a GM, or somebody who's running a whole operations for any programming that we're doing in Miami. We give ourselves constantly. And in order for us to be able to give more, sometimes we have to start with us. So I have a couple things that I created for you. So sometimes happens that we talk to so many people and we feel like our energy is low. It doesn't happen to you that sometimes you're talking on the phone and you feel like your energy is like, oh my God, I feel so drained. Or sometimes I'm a little tired. So I put it, this is sage. You can burn it 45 degrees from your magnetic field. And then you start cleaning and circle movements around your body. And you start it from your head all the way to your toe. Sometimes it happens that when you don't have a desk or you're standing up for so long, you start it from your feet all the way to your head. Also, the energy that we bring into our house is very powerful. Sometimes we have great days, sometimes we don't have great days. So that energy stays in your house, it's stagnant. So I always recommend to have some Palo Santo. And with the Palo Santo, you can start cleaning from the right to the left. When you come into your house, you start cleaning from your right to the left. And then you bring the sage. The sage is a manifestation of what you want, but the Palo Santo is the one that clears the energy, like takes all the negative stuff out of your space. So that's in terms of clearing your energy. Then we have Calm at Home. This is incredible for us that are like constantly walking, especially those that we're in Ocean Drive, that we could like walk all the time. And our high heels for the girls, for the boys that are standing up in the desk and they have to go from one meeting to another and they're constantly doing walkthroughs on the properties. This is incredible. So Epsom salts, a quarter cup of Himalayan pink sea salt. I do between 10 and 20 drops of lavender. And then I do any kind of like dry seeds that you want to do. You can do lavender, you can do eucalyptus, you can do chamomile. Actually, the chamomile from the tea, you can put it in there. Now, this is the secret. If you feel like you feel like your foot is swell, especially for ladies that are in high heels, you do like 1 bucket of hot water and then 1 of cold water with ice. So you do 10 minutes and then you do 10 minutes. Inflammation goes away. And if you do it at the end of the day, but you also have another event that you need to go, then you can put peppermint or eucalyptus in the water. And it's beautiful because then you are like super pumped up and you're ready to go to conquer the world through another event that you have, especially you, Ceci, that I know you, that you go to different places. So this is an amazing, especially for our concierge that are standing up on the desk. Sometimes you are like super tired. This one actually will give you a little relief and then you will go to sleep like a baby. This is one of my favorite ones. I was thinking about something very easy that you can do at home, especially boys and girls. We eat a lot of stuff that creates inflammation in our body, a lot. So if you get a little bit of yogurt, I actually have the yogurt here. You can grab vanilla and it's organic. You do 2 scoops of that. And then you do 1 scoop of matcha. You mix it all up and it creates a beautiful mask. You can put aloe vera if you want to. You can find aloe vera. Actually, the leaves, you can find them in Whole Foods, or you can actually find them in the streets. You can open one, grab a little bit of skin of it, mix it, put it in your yogurt, and it's beautiful because you can put it in your face. So if you have inflammation, you have a little bit of redness, rosacea, you have a little bit of acne that you didn't expect to have, or you feel like your skin is a little dry and then you put in moisturizer and it's not working, use that. You put your favorite Netflix show, you put it on your skin, and at the same time, you can start eating it. because everything gets healed from inside. So this is amazing because everything that has to do with inflammation, you help it from inside and then it shows on your skin. And lastly, if you want to have more recipes, please send me a message. And then this one, so I really want to take this moment to thank everybody in the hospitality industry, from managers to front desk managers, to our front desk agency, to our concierge. We are turning 18 years in business. We started with Miami City Massage, which is one of my beautiful businesses that from my heart, because that's how I started. And all of you have given us an opportunity for us to keep growing. We have 12 properties today, 12 little, big, medium, and small, big spas. And when we created these spaces, we created with the mission and the vision to bring everybody from the hospital industry to come to our sacred spaces and bring what you need. So we all go through some stress. We have our ups and lows, and we have our highs. But really doesn't matter how much do you work if you don't take care of yourself. That stress catch up with you. And these beautiful spaces that we have created is for you guys to use it. We send a weekly, monthly newsletter to a lot of our hospitality partners, but I want to extend this to all of you that are watching today, because it's super important that, sometimes a massage is just not a massage. I asked today to Andrew and Ian, when was the last time that you guys had a massage? And people are like, I don't know. Sometimes that moment to disconnect, it will help you to reconnect to a better version of yourself. So take the moment, take advantage. We have a beautiful property in Miami Beach in Ocean Drive, and we have Leaf, which is in Brickell, which is open. And we have a sauna and a steam room, an infrared sauna, something that you can use and say, you know what, I really need it. Please come. This place was created to make it at home for all of you. So that's our way to say thank you for all the work that you do. And if something I learned through the years is that if you don't take care of yourself first, it will be very hard for you to take care of the rest of the people around you. So with that, I thank you, everyone.
Great presentation. Now we're going to share this with everyone. It was given to us in a PowerPoint. It'll be a link through Google Docs. So if you want to read through it, by all means, we want to get the coordinates for you to share your newsletter with those on the call. We have over 75 already participating. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more. And then also tell us about all the locations. You had mentioned to me you have locations not only here in South Florida, but you're currently in Chicago, building out another location. Please, yeah. I'm giving you some bragging time. Take the floor. You deserve it.
So most of you know my husband, Carter, is in charge of the Chicago market. But we're doing it together this time because the market in Chicago is completely different from Miami. I was sharing this with Ceci. It's a very different structure, and it really needs the presence of two people and more. So we have a team here. So we have the Ritz-Carlton, that is Calma, and we're opening our second brand. We opened in Brickell at the beginning of this year. The big opening party will be in November due to the construction delays. But we start building one here at the Fairmont. We're almost done. And it's a gorgeous property. It's one of our biggest properties, actually. It has 9 treatment rooms, and it has so many amenities, but it takes time to build. So we are trying to focus on building the Chicago market right now, but I can't wait to go back home. So...
Well, thank you.
For those who likes to come to Chicago, if you guys want to come and have a little bit of summertime here in Chicago, please call me. So we have space for you here too.
All right. So now the big question. Now, hopefully everyone's been paying attention. You've got an opportunity to win a couples massage. So I leave the microphone to you. Go ahead and ask the question. Everybody get ready to answer on the chat. Make sure you're paying attention to this chat.
So when was the first spa created? What year and what country?
Read through the chat. Tell me. I think they're asking first spa created what year, what country. I don't think it's your spa. It's the first spa ever. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I have 1956, 1326 in Belgium, England.
Nope.
No. Hold on. Let's see if anybody gets it right. I know, Carter, you can't answer. Okay. 1910, Manhattan.
Nope.
No.
In the world.
In the world, 1815.
Nope.
Carter, everything's fair. You have an inside scoop. Can't get the answer. Rome, Greece. Well, I assume they meant Greece. 70 AD in Rome. Bulgaria. Now they're Googling. I know they're Googling.
They're Googling for sure.
They're all Googling.
Yeah.
Do you see the answer correct? I don't even know what the answer is.
I can even see the answers, but.
You see it? Look on the chat. Carter, if you can help her see if it's been answered. The Bible, 70 AD with the Romans. Carter, help us out here. Let us know if you see it. You'll see all the chats in line. 1326.
I can change the question for something easier if you want.
Let's see. Yeah, go to everyone so you see everything. Thank you, Elba. Carter, anything? You see anybody? You have to open up for everyone so they see the channel, the panelists. But make sure we get the answer correct.
No.
You don't see any of them?
He said he's
None?
He says that I'm doing an impossible question. That's not fair. Okay. I'm gonna change
so we're gonna start with another question. Nobody got the answer right, so we're gonna do a whole new question.
Just for you guys to know, it was in 1957 in Russia.
1957 in Russia, and I don't believe anybody answered it correctly. That means it's too early. We're not paying attention. We need more coffee. Okay. So give us another question. I just want to make sure nobody did.
That can be very easy because I worked with you for so many years. When Miami City Massage was created?
Ooh, that's an easy one. I think that was already answered as well. One of the first answers. Anyone? 18 years ago, 17 years ago.
Well, what year? Hello.
2004.
Yes.
2004.
Beautiful.
Kevin, according to my notes, Kevin, you got it. 2004.
Yep.
Is that correct? Kevin, congratulations. You won yourself a massage for two. We will coordinate on getting you your prize, and then we'll coordinate on where I can meet you so we can have that massage. No, just kidding. So enjoy your massage for two, Kevin. Thank you very much to our friends at Calma Spa. We're going to move on to our second presentation. And it's going to be Ian Sawh. Ian, go ahead and open up your presentation if you like. And Ian is opening up his presentation. See it. So for all of you, you've probably heard of TripAdvisor, you've heard of Expedia, you've heard of all these other companies. Well, now there's a way for you as a hospitality professional, be it a concierge, hotel manager, hotel sales department, or even a hotel owner, you can now work with a company called Own Outdoors. They will create a subversion, if that's the proper terminology, of their website, whereby your guests will now feel like they're booking something that you recommend, and it's completely branded to your property. And Ian, correct me if I'm misleading anyone. And you can actually derive revenue from this, but more importantly, you're giving them the full experience. And not only providing a bed, a pillow, a towel, and a room, you're actually showcasing what our beautiful city has to offer. With that said, hopefully I did it well. The founder and chief executive officer of Own Outdoors, Mr. Ian Sawh.
Yeah, thanks, Miguel. You nailed it, of course. I might not even have to present anymore.
Oh, of course you do. You're so much more.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk about our product. And again, Miguel, I know we've worked together before. And again, super thanks for having me. Like Miguel said, I'm the founder and CEO of Own Outdoors. We got started, a little history, we got started about 6 years ago. And up until about 3 years ago, we decided to create this program, especially for the hospitality industry. And like Miguel said, it's really about delivering a solution for hotels, concierges, the hospitality and property management companies, even timeshares we work with, and travel agents. And like Miguel mentioned, if you think of a TripAdvisor/Airbnb experiences combined and delivered, so we screen and curate different tours, food tours, historic tours, air tours, the list is there. But we screen and curate and deliver a view to the hotel or the concierge with white label capability. So as you can see, this is an example of the Hilton branding and their logo at the top left of the screenshot there. And the app is not, there's no download required. So how a guest would use it, and I wanted to actually make sure it's clear that we're not trying to take away, some people hear digital and virtual concierge. We're not trying to take away from that profession. We're just only here to supplement and help. So if there's something in your inventory as a concierge that you don't have, you can definitely use our tool in your back pocket, right? Another way that some concierges use it is when they're not there and they're gone for the day, they can stick up a tabletop banner on the counter with that QR code, and I'll show you what that looks like next. And that could be working for you 24/7, right? So I move on here, and this is the mobile view. It just kind of gives you an idea of how the app looks, right? So you have your typical filter capabilities, the map and geolocation, and this is what the guests would see, right? We're also integrated with TripAdvisor. So when we do our screening and curating, the TripAdvisor ratings are there to get everyone comfortable that this is a top-rated activity, and the guest is going to be in good hands with that activity or a tour operator. And then we also provide YouTube videos. So it's nothing beats looking at a video to see what it actually looks like, to see if it's something that you'd be interested in. And it helps, I think it helps the guests get comfortable that this is something for them. So that's what the mobile view looks like. And so this slide, we see here some different examples on how it's implemented at hotels. So this is one at the Hilton Daytona, and what we do with this is a window cling or a decal that can be made. It's a small 4x6 cling that's put on all in all the rooms on the glass. So it's clean and easy to come off. It needs to come off, and it's easy to put up. So essentially, a guest would scan that QR code. It pops up our web app. They see the screen and curated tours, and they book it instantly on their phone. And then Miguel talked about the revenue side. So we revenue share any bookings that come off the QR code. It's tracked, and then we, on a monthly basis, will give you a report with the bookings that are made. The report you see here to the right is the scans and clicks you got on the QR code. So we'll tell you, hey, you got 100 scans this month, 10 of them converted, and then this is your payout for the month. And then we have some other examples and designs. And this can be also deployed as a custom or URL or a link, as you see up there in the top left where the Hilton experience is. So we would just give you that link, and that can be deployed in email confirmations It could be deployed on your website, and it could be deployed in just various places that you choose. So I'm not going to read through all these benefits, but, Miguel already touched on some. I touched on some. It works for the hotel and concierge. It's really about delighting the guests, right, and providing them experiences that they may not have had before, right? We also, another one to call out is reducing that time spent with vendors, right? So we help centralize the vendors that you would deal with today. Maybe you're a new concierge to the area, so you can get started immediately, right? Guest benefits, really special discounts. They can browse at their leisure. Younger generations and some that are just love tech want to browse on their phone or just be in the room and look at things, right? So, and then obviously the tour operator benefits. The tour operators hop on our network, and you would also get access to different hotels, concierges, just to expand your distribution. So free for Q&A, and then if you guys are interested, we set things up fairly quickly, and we will give you a free month or a 3-month free trial on the product, and would love to work with you guys. We're currently in Florida, Texas. We're expanding to New Orleans, and we will be going global this year, Q4. So we'd love to work with you guys, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Ian. And can you share that whole presentation with us in a PDF or a PDF format, absolutely, so I can send it out to everyone? And then your contact information as absolutely. Well. Does anyone have any questions for Ian? No? Okay, Ian, this is the moment of truth. You've got a $50 gift card that's being held virtually by you to be given to a lucky winner. We're going to ask Ian to go ahead and ask the question. And once again, you'll respond via chat through the chat feature, and then we'll see who actually wins. Are you ready, Ian?
Sure.
Let's go.
So does the app require downloading?
No. Oh, that was a quick one. Okay, the first answer I got was... Ooh-wee. Yep. Daniel Izuzu is the first winner. So, Daniel, congratulations. It's no, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. So, Daniel, you are the winner. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Ian, for your presentation. I'm going to move on to Andrew from the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau so we can see all that interesting and knowledgeable information. Ian, you're welcome to stay on the call for the remainder if you like. You don't have to jump off. And then, Andrew, whenever you're ready to queue up, we'll be set. There you go. So for those of you who don't know Andrew, he's been with us for several months. I always say that he and Ceci are the core to why people come to this, apart from the prizes. The information that he provides is invaluable, as well as Ceci's information on South Beach. You don't find it anywhere else in a timely, consistent manner. So with that said, I formally introduce you to the Director of Research and Business Intelligence, Mr. Andrew Wobensmith with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. Go ahead, Andrew. It's yours.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. And actually, Miguel, you first asked me to do this. It's been an entire year, if you can believe that.
An entire year. Man, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, having fun every month. Absolutely. And since August of last year. And I will say that your prizes have become pretty stellar. And I think we've got a really engaged group of people because of the different prizes that you're throwing in every month. So as you know, you mentioned Miami Spice. It's Miami Spice month. So I think that Miami Spice is going to help our folks pay attention. There's a lot of information here. I'll try to run through it pretty quick because I know that we're limited on time. But make sure you pay attention because I know that there's a great incentive at the end. So that said, we're going to talk about tourism like we do it every month. As I've mentioned, every month I go through the different sources of information that I get. I put together a story of tourism, which I feel is comprehensive. And then we talk about it for about 15 minutes or so. And then, of course, any questions at the end, you can certainly go ahead and ask them. You will be getting a copy of this presentation as well. So this month, I decided to focus a little bit more on forecasts. I'm getting a lot of people that are asking me questions as they're trying to plan, whether they're a hotel or a restaurateur or whoever you are, trying to plan for your budgets for the next year. So I thought I need to include more information on forecasts. So I think that might be useful to some of you folks. As you know, lots of months I talk about economics. I'm not going to talk too much about economics right now. I think we know economics are sort of up and down right now. And really, when I go through my information every month, I try to find information that tells that story. So we're going to stay out of some of that economics and talk more about consumer sentiment, as I often talk about. We'll talk about the metrics that we see here on the ground for tourism. And then again, we'll look at some of the forecast stuff that we have, as well as some other information that's anecdotal, some of the new things happening in our market, which I think might be something that may be of interest to you folks moving forward. So just move ahead here. All right, we'll start out with some global consumer sentiment. This is a study from YouGov. I thought it was interesting because it sort of supports what I talk about every month. When we talk about financial issues that people have and where they make their financial decisions, this was an interesting survey. The question here was, if your household budget is squeezed as a result of increases in the cost of living, in which areas would you first make cutbacks? And up here at the top of the list, eating out, but followed second by travel, right? This is probably not a surprise to people, but I think it really illustrates the fact that when we start to get tight financially, travel becomes one of those things that we cut back very fast. So eating out followed by travel, clothing, takeaways, tech purchases. It was an interesting list. I thought gambling was interesting. 1 in 3 said we're going to cut back on our gambling. That may not be everybody that I know. There could be a few people that it may not cut back in our gambling, but nonetheless, I thought this was some interesting information. And it's a study that actually crosses the globe here. Europe, the Pacific, Americas, Middle East, North Africa. So just an interesting piece of tidbit of something that you can take back to your folks. But really, when we talk about sentiment, I talk more about domestic traveler sentiment here. A study from Destinations Internationalists that says here that service and financial issues are the main barriers for travelers right now. Again, we've talked about financial issues for months and months and months. There are sometimes other issues that pop up. A year ago, it was COVID. A year ago, it was vaccine related and crowds, but now we see more and more. It's financial, but also service. So a lot of travelers are finding that when they're traveling, that they're not getting the level of service that they would expect to get as they have in the past. And really, a lot of that comes down to a business's ability to staff. It just has not quite recovered yet. So 40% of recent travelers reported experiencing a service issue on their last trip. And even interesting, 75% of American travelers report an awareness of current issues with U.S. air travel systems, such as flight cancellations, delays, and long security lines. So we are having issues here at the airports as well. But again, what's really most substantive in American travelers' minds, it's finances, it's their budgets, it's the economy, right? And the top reasons that people listed, what has deterred them from traveling in the past 6 months, the top reasons are gasoline. The cost of gasoline is too expensive. General cost of travel being too expensive right now. Personal financial reasons, followed by airfare is too expensive. So these costs are definitely hurting some of those folks that would like to travel more. Again, I oftentimes share a lot more economics. I'm not going to this month, but I will mention gas. Of course, we know that gas has been very expensive. It's gone down a little bit, which is great. But however, some of the reasons why might be just as concerning. I know that in another piece of information I was looking at that I did not include, the demand for gasoline has gone down quite a bit. I believe 8% from last year. And that would really tell you that people are driving less and less in order to cope with some of these prices. So I would take that into consideration as we move forward here. However, it's now August, so we know that people are going to start going back to school soon. Vacations, summer vacations are wrapping up. I share these every month. I'll share them again until I just, run the wheels off of these demand indexes, but they're really useful for me to communicate some of the basic information about what we see here in our market. And this is daily demand. This is, the number of passengers coming through the MIA, the number of hotel rooms sold in our hotels in Miami-Dade County, in-house seated diners as reported through Open Table. And what we can see here since 3 months ago, we can see that we're still quite positive. Everything above that dotted line indicates metrics that are higher in 2019. The airport's still humming along. Rooms are being sold. Restaurants are still full. I'll point out here that there might be I say might be here because we're so hyper-focused on what we see going on in our markets and in the economy. There could be a little bit of slowdown. I don't know what word to use, in the last week or two in terms of what we see in air travel and what we see here in terms of rooms sold. I think that's interesting. We'll keep an eye on it. This does not mean that we're going to recession. However, I just want to point that out because it sort of ladders into some of the things I'm going to talk about as to what we're going to see here in the upcoming months. Looking more specifically at our airport, our weekly international arrivals here. What I've done here is I've charted out the last 6 months of weekly international arrivals. That blue bar indicates what they were in 2019. That green bar to the right indicates what they've been this year. And what we see is that the international arrivals have really caught up. We would normally expect to see about 50-50 at MIA, and we have returned essentially back to that. We're very close. So that's very encouraging if we're seeing this going on. We see this at the airport. We also, I think, see this in our market as more and more international travelers are able to come to the United States and in particular, Miami. Some cruise updates here. I have not given one in a while. I'm not going to read through the whole list here, but the CDC, as many of you are probably aware, they have finally ended their COVID-19 program for cruise ships. So this has certainly made it a little easier for people to start taking cruises again. Those blue bars are much like the previous page, an index that I've created of cruise passenger traffic. Since the beginning of the year, it's been a remarkable recovery. As you can see, that swing upwards. And by June, I would say by mid-June, we are hitting numbers that were equivalent to what we saw in 2019. So that's really great. We've seen a very good positive uptick. And this is something I've been waiting to report for a while because it has been a little bit sluggish, but now we see that demand has picked up. And then below that, some of the explanations here is that, for example, Carnival, they reached 91% capacity by the end of second quarter. Their goal was 98% capacity by the end of November. Norwegian reached 100% capacity by May. Royal Caribbean reporting that their booking volumes averaged 30% above 2019 during the second quarter. So that's why we see this going on. We see a tremendous amount of demand going on here. And furthermore, I think we're really well aligned for the future here. We have some new ships that are coming. Disney Dream should have just come here. Virgin Voyages, Valiant Lady, showing up in October. Carnival Celebration will debut in November. And then as well as we have a lot more construction going on at the cruise port. We have some new terminals. And then most notably, I think, is the groundbreaking of MSC terminal in March, once completed, which would be fall next year, should be the largest cruise ship terminal in North America. So we have the largest cruise port in the world. Well, we'll have the largest cruise ship terminal in North America. So great news going on there at the port. Looking at our hotel occupancy, ADR and RevPAR in Miami-Dade County, as well as our neighbors to the north and south. What we're seeing here is we're seeing a little bit of dip. Now, when I say a little bit of dip, it's not a big concern, but we do see that versus last year. Now, let's think about last year. Last year, we had a pretty solid summer. It was really picking up. But then by the end of July, going into August, we had a resurgence of COVID. As you might recall, the Omicron variant. That did have an effect, not a huge effect, but it did have some effect on visitation. So we expect to see some fluctuation in occupancy due to the fact that we had some issues with Omicron, which is why we look at 2021 as well as 2019 to get an idea of what we think is going to be considered normal. Probably the biggest takeaway here is that ADRs are still, while they're competing with last year, but also looking at 19, we're still well above where we were at in 2019. And then down at the bottom there, those last three rows, what we see in Broward, what we see in the Florida Keys, as well as Florida, we're really running along the same trend as they are. So there's really nothing to say. It's not just us. Some softness, but overall not that much softness that I would say is anything to be concerned about. Looking at what for future reserved hotel and Airbnb occupancy for the next 90 days or so, these two charts, hotel on the top, Airbnb on the bottom, is telling us, with that red dotted line being what it was last year at this time, that we're still seeing positive demand. We're still seeing positive demand in hotel. We're still seeing positive demand at Airbnb for the next 90 days. So I consider it to be a very good sign. As I mentioned, we do see some fluctuation, but in this case, we are seeing demand that's essentially equivalent to or greater than it was last year. So that's really great news as well. Now, looking ahead, as I mentioned, we'll talk about some forecast information. I have some stuff here on hotel as well as visitation. let's take a look and see here where we think we're going to be. STR just released their forecast on Friday, so you folks are maybe the first ones to actually see this. I've included what we're going to expect to see for the rest of this year, as well as all the way up through September of this coming year that you could use for your planning purposes. And what we see here, as I mentioned to you, we're now comparing to last year. So occupancy is going to start to look a little higher because of that, what we're comparing to last year, where we started to see a little bit of dip. ADRs are going to start to be a little bit more challenged, but still positive. I think here the demand is what they're saying. They're saying that demand, which is really the biggest indicator of where we think that push is going to be, we still see positive demand for the rest of the year, which I think is very encouraging. For next year, though, I think this is kind of interesting. To be expected, next year they're calling for some significant softness in terms of ADR, but I don't think that would surprise anybody here. We've had record ADRs for a year, and it's just finally started to subside. So while they're still strong, we are going to expect to see some softening as compared to this year. They are saying that demand is going to be relatively positive. Now, I will say, I think this forecast could be a little bit bullish. I don't know. We'll continue to share these things as we get new updates. But I thought I'd share this with you folks, since you were the first folks to see this, and certainly use this for some of your planning if you can. Now, it's not the only forecast I'm going to share with you. We do our own here at the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, but we look at the whole enchilada. We look at the total visitor volume forecast here, and these lines here represent what we see for the last several years. Starting with that green line, that's what 2019 looked like in terms of the overall visitor volume per month. And then we see 2020, that red line where it dipped so drastically, but did start to improve. The yellow is 2021, which started out relatively sluggish, but ended on a very high note. And then that blue line is what we've seen this year, as well as where we're forecasting where we think we're going to be for the rest of the year. And what this is really telling you is that we forecast another record year in terms of the volume of tourists, which is really great. We're saying around 2 million, 2.5 million more visitors than we had last year. So this is sort of like our conservative forecast. It could go up, it could go down. Not really certain yet, but we'll start to look at it again this week. But I still think overall the story here is that tourism this year was absolutely fantastic. Last year was a record. This year we are poised to beat that record by a comfortable margin. So I'm happy to share this information with you. Looking at what we see coming through our airports in terms of international travel, we can look at what's booked through travel agencies, including those OTAs. So what I've done here is I've pulled out the tickets that have been sold from now through the rest of the year to give us an idea of where we think our top markets will be. Really great news at MIA, Brazil back on #1. This is the same ranking that we always have, which is really great too, right? As I mentioned to you, the international arrivals have recovered, as well as what we see here, these markets are returning. Very positive news. In FLL, which I don't always share, but Canada is extremely strong. The FLL, really, if you combine these two, you'd say that there were more Canadians here in South Florida than any other top international market. But nonetheless, it's still very strong and still very encouraging. So we are, while it's still not quite back where we want to be, it's still very strong and coming back. We also survey Florida residents, and this is something that the GMCVB does. This is not syndicated research. We ask people a lot of questions here, but one of the questions we asked them are those people that said that they're not likely to visit Greater Miami in the next 6 months. Well, why is that? We ask them for their reasons, and we, of course, look at these reasons over time to see if there's things that are shifting here. And the #1 reason has consistently been that they would rather visit other locations in Florida. So it's just about matter of where they're going to pick. So maybe they're going to Orlando more now the theme parks are open. Maybe they're going to Tampa. Could be any number of reasons why, but that has continued to be the #1 reason. Again, right now it's followed by not enough time, too busy, to I'm just not interested. And I thought that was interesting too, because if you look at the far left column, that's where it was exactly a year ago. And then we kind of progressed through the year. And we see that it seems that there are more people now that are saying they're just not interested in visiting. And so maybe there's a renewed interest in some of these other locations in Florida. As we know, there's a lot of competition here in Florida. If you're a Floridian, you can wake up, you can go to the Keys, you can go to Orlando, you can go anywhere. So these are some of the things that are popping out. One positive note here is that there are not a lot of people saying it's too expensive to visit the Miami area. That's something that's a concern for me. As I'm thinking to myself, as we look at these high rates and people's pocketbooks, are they telling us that Miami is too expensive? And to this date, no, They're not telling us that Miami is too expensive. But again, the number one reason we see here is that they would rather visit other locations in Florida. Some quick updates here. American Airlines. I know there's a lot of stuff I could cover at the airport. I'm not going to go through all of it. But here, American Airlines, this was a little press update from the South Florida Business Journal. I wanted to point this out to you because American Airlines is our largest airline at MIA. So some of the things that go on at MIA with is driven by American Airlines here. So what they're basically saying here is that they're terminating quite a few routes this fall. You know, a couple of months ago, as I met with MIA, they told me their forecasts were essentially going to be very strong for the rest of the year. But it looks like American Airlines is cutting it back a little bit. Now, why that is could be any number of reasons. We know that there's a lot of issues out there. But I think one of the things that was interesting to me when I pulled this out was, according to one aviation analyst, he said American could be hunkering down for the fall and winter travel season. So I'm not going to say that's a foreboding, but I thought it was interesting that he's pointing that out. That is not a reason that I've heard to date as to why it is you might think we may see some softening, but I'll point that out for you. And that will be an area that we're going to be watching in particular. Finally, we've talked about some of the barriers that international travelers have coming to the U.S. that has further been exacerbated by the fact that we are just still struggling with staffing here. We have a labor shortage here. We still have not opened all the embassies. So we see some people that are affected. This comes from Skift, a report that came out about a week ago. I highlighted here, or I bolded, I should say, citizens from India, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, some of our biggest markets here, are being negatively impacted. That those wait times continue to build here. And if you go down here towards the bottom here, average wait time for a visa from Sao Paulo, Brazil is 365 days. So it is becoming very difficult to for some of these folks to get into our country. So in summary, some of these bullet points that I bring out here, our volume trends are holding up. We still see travel demand that's rolling along, international markets coming back. But again, as I just mentioned, visa wait times are becoming more problematic. Hotels cooling off a little bit after a long, hot streak, right? Lodging demand in the short term still appears stable for home sharing and hotels. U.S. consumers not particularly enthusiastic about their financial situations. This will hamper travel, but we don't know. It's too difficult to say what that's going to be here in Miami. Our forecasts are looking good, though, and we know that we're on track to have a great year, a record year for 22. And finally, as I mentioned to you, we're going to keep a close eye on the hotel and air performance, because those, I believe, are really what we consider to be the canary in the coal mine for our industry. So that is it, folks. Miami Spice. Right, Miguel? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask or reach out.
As always, Andrew, jam-packed, full of information and details. We will share that deck with you later on today via email. Now it's time for the Miami Spice question, or the actual question that Andrew will give, whether it be related to Miami Spice or not. But the prize is dinner for two, $150 food credit at any of the Miami Spice restaurants of your choosing. So, Andrew, do you have the question?
I do have a question here. I just mentioned it. Let me survey Florida residents. We asked of those who are not coming to Miami or not likely to come to Miami, why it is they would not come to Miami. What would be the number one reason that Floridians say that they would not visit Miami in the next 6 months?
I have somewhere else in Florida. Would rather go to other cities.
Rather visit other parts of Florida.
So somewhere else in Florida. Charlie, congratulations. You've got dinner for two at any of the Spice restaurants. Compliments of Andrew and the GMCVB. Woo, great. Excellent. Thank you, Andrew, for your great presentation. Thank you for everyone that participated in the raffle. And now we segue to the queen of South Beach, Ceci Velasco. She's going to tell us everything about South Beach, Ocean Drive, City Commission, all that fun stuff. So, Ceci, the microphone and floor is yours. Go ahead.
I think it's really interesting. I love listening to Andrew and all of the data. And as I'm listening to it, I'm like trying to put some things together. We went through this pandemic and we went through a negative marketing or a negative messaging, right? That actually hit the world. But in Florida, it's interesting. I think a lot of people are saying, I'm not going down to Miami, because it's still in the back of your head that it's kind of a troublesome place. And I think we're going to have to make up for that some way. And it's going to be something that we're focusing on. And it is that what we're focusing on is rebranding and rethinking about Miami Beach. We're giving out free concerts all the time. This is part of the placemaking, part of the recovery, right? So as we are looking at that, I think it's important that we promote all of these free concerts that we have. I have the Ocean Drive Promenade series. The city is putting over $1 million into free concerts and movies and that type of thing. All of this is part of the rebranding. So we need to encourage our guests in our hotels to come out into Miami Beach, that it's a safe place to come. And I think those messages need to trickle throughout Florida, because those are the drivable people. They also, they're worried about gas prices. The other thing I'm thinking, as we are looking at lower ADRs and lower occupancy, I think we need to get away from the knee-jerk reaction to lower our room rates, because we've seen what that's happened. When you lower the room rates, you get 4 people in a room, 6 people in a room. So I would be very cautious about following that business model, knowing where that led us. We're not in a pandemic, but knowing that when you do kind of lower your room rates, what you end up getting is over occupancy, and you really kind of get a different clientele. So I would just really cautious us that we learn from what we've been through, right? And we kind of maintain the standards of what we want. I'm really excited that we had the Ocean Drive Promenade series. We have had very success since February, having wonderful New World Symphony, New Deco, a lot of the very high-end talent. But this time around, we released our fall to December series, and we're really mixing it up. And there's a real diverse caliber, or diverse genres and diverse types of musicians that are coming, but the caliber is always the highest standard. Last night we had Ken Peplowski, and he flew in from New York with La Lucha, and they were very talented, and we have it rain or shine. We moved inside to the Betsy lobby, but I think it's an example of consistent urban placemaking when you have some small activation that people can talk about, and it's consistent because it's every single week. And we've really managed to be able to get the word out that the magic is back on Ocean Drive. And I'm really proud of what we're doing here, but I'm also very excited that other neighborhoods are kind of taking a page out of that book and looking at how we've been able to do it. I've been talking to people on the south end of Ocean Drive to do something incremental like that will kind of change the ambience and the messaging and the branding. Sometimes it doesn't take a huge concert for 250,000 people. Sometimes it just takes, the Domino's tournament in Lummis Park, maybe every single, Saturday morning. It takes consistent, accessible activations for the locals. And I really think the locals are our background. And when I say the locals, I mean all of the county, right? They're the background. If they want to come, other people want to come. I want to go where the locals eat. I want to know where the cab drivers eat. I want to go, those are the kind of things that I see happening. I love Miami Spice. It gets us into these restaurants that we would not normally go to, right? And the spa, Miami Spa. Who doesn't want to be a spa? I have to do a shout out. We were going to go out of town for the weekend. We were going to go to Key West, or we were going to do the other things in Florida other than Miami. And then we decided, you know what? Staycation is the best. So I do have to give a shout out, because we spent the weekend at the Cadillac, which is literally 4 blocks away from where we live. And we just had a most magnificent time. It was relaxing. We went to Dona Mare. We were at the bungalow. We were in the pool every day. You walk out to the beach. They give you the bicycles. Beautiful view. And I'm like, wow. And honestly, Esteban and Lenny, the concierges at the Cadillac, went out of their way to give us the most wonderful experience and the most wonderful time. We have beautiful properties. So I encourage people to go out and be part of the staycation, because you're part of the industry and you're part of the billboards and you're part of our brand ambassadors, right? So I have people on south of Ocean Drive that haven't walked up to the north side of Ocean Drive and had lunch. It's, you know, the world is really small. So just as industry partners, I think we need to go out and experience what we can so that we can, you know, broaden the reach and the buzz and bring people into Miami. Just concerned that people would rather go other places. And I'm really concerned that we hit that headline because of some, you know, some of the issues that are happening. I know we're working hand in hand with the police department, and they have a great new team of leaders that have really looked at how to best manage the area, and they're doing a wonderful job. So I'm seeing there's a lot of work being done to stabilize, and a lot of work being done to also not scare tourists away, right? You don't want to walk outside and see 14 police officers. You think, what happened? So they're doing it in a gentle, positive way to support the industry. So I see really wonderful things happening. But when you're talking about what brings people, it's really art and culture. There's so many free things that are going on. The county's investing a lot. The cities are investing a lot. So let's promote that out into our hotels and make sure that our guests are taking advantage of all this wonderful cultural things that we have.
Excellent. And anything planned for Labor Day this weekend?
Labor Day weekend, nothing in particular. Like, we're not having a big anything for Labor Day weekend. It's always a nice, pleasant, relaxing time. People are taking their last, you know, vacation before they, you know, go back to school, or you know, they take, you know, 3 weeks off during the summer, and that's kind of their last hurrah. There isn't anything special big, but we expect it to be a special weekend anyway.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. Are there any updates from City Commission? Ocean Drive, how's it faring out with the traffic? It's as expected, or they're looking to make modifications?
No, I listen. What we would like on the north side at the promenade, and we're taking things very carefully to make sure that both the residents and the City Commission and the hotels and the restaurants are all working together. But I think the promenade is pretty much poised to have some cafe expansions. Right? That would be very beneficial. They don't see the traffic. They like it not having a lot of noise. The noise ordinance has gone into play where they are now stopping cars on the street, and I've seen them stop people on the street with big boom boxes. So that's kind of helping with the ambiance, because that's really an interrupter in somebody else's experience. So the city's taken that to heart. The promenade is nice. It's really, that's why we can have the string quartets, because we don't have cars going by with music blasting out. But on the south side of Ocean Drive, they're quite happy that they have their valet and everything else. So it really is kind of nice, but I think we're poised to do a little bit of cafe expansions in that area, just to give it a little bit more energy. We want them to be successful as well. But like I said, we're waiting to make sure that it plays out well. We don't want to be cumbersome to the city. I have recently seen the Economic Development Department has come out with this wonderful newsletter, and I think everybody should pay attention to it, especially if you have a small business. They have really kind of embraced that their importance and getting information out to the business community. So I would suggest, and I send it out after they send it to me. So again, if you want to be part of my distribution list, it's pertinent to my district, but I'm so happy to include you. So if you want to send me an email at execdirector@oceandrivemb.com, I will be happy. So for some reason, if you don't get Andrew's email, you get it from me, because then I send it out to like 100 people besides that. So I'm very happy to do that and include anybody else who wants to get that from me. But you know, it's all things don't happen overnight, and it takes, you know, a village. It takes everybody to get involved and really take a focus and look at what's happening. But you also have to pay attention. The city and the county, I mean, we're going through elections, right? So Okay, I'm not going to talk about candidates, but I will say there's very important referendums that are going out. Referendums that are going to allow some of these small Art Deco hotels to expand and be more profitable. They have to upkeep a historic building, and they can't really do that with the amount of rooms that they have and the revenue they have. So let's say they're not part of, Hersha, or they're not part of a bigger group. Let's say they're independently owned. It's really hard for them to be profitable, and then it's really hard for them to employ the staff that they need and have the level of service that they need and everything else. So there are some referendums that are going to allow for these historic buildings to expand in a limited basis. We also don't want to be Sunny Isles Beach, but at the same time, 2 or 3 more floors will give them just enough rooms that they can be profitable and turn it around to keep an enhanced experience that we want in our beautiful South Beach, Miami Beach area. And I know we talk about the entire county, but let's face it, everybody uses Ocean Drive. Everybody uses the picture of the neon as the big attraction to Miami. So, we just want to make sure that we can do that. So pay attention. Everybody lives here somewhere, either in the city or the county or wherever. Just pay attention to those referendum items and don't dismiss them, because they're really important to our industry when it comes to the properties being able to expand in one way or the other.
True. Thank you, Ceci. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our panelists, Ceci, Andrew, Marizza, and Ian. Congratulations to our winners. Kevin, who won the couples massage, Daniel, who won the gas card, and Charlie, who won the dinner for 2 with Miami Spice. It's easy to make a buck. It's tougher to make a difference. Let's strive to make a difference in the lives of others. Let's be part of the solution and make strides to perform random acts of kindness, make a difference in someone's life. It'll come back to you in a positive way, I promise. And as Marizza had said earlier in the call, we need to make sure that we take care of the most important asset in our lives, and that's ourselves. Treat yourself to a massage, treat yourself to some type of treatment of any sort, and we'll be sharing those with you in our email, because at the end of the day, everything else really doesn't matter if you're not healthy, both spiritually, mentally, and physically. Get out and enjoy. We'll see you next month in September. Peace, love, God bless. Take care, everybody. Our goal is to inspire travel. We want to expose you to what Miami and South Florida has to offer. From Key Biscayne to Coconut Grove, South Beach to Calle Ocho, and everywhere in between. Miami's a vibrant city and offers a wide array of popular attractions and venues. Come join us.